Hello BookTube, it's Slade Cooper here. Today I'm bringing you my July TBR. And I have to hold on to the stack because I have actually quite a few things in physical copy this month. So this is kind of, I said last month was like the first month that I didn't have a ton of stuff that I had to get read. And that was true, but then I ended up doing a readathon, the Getting Graphic readathon, and so that kind of I ended up checking out a lot of stuff from the library, and the library is kind of its own imposed TBR because I try really hard to read everything that I check out from the library, so I'm like really careful about what I get and how much I get, so it's enough to like push myself but not overwhelm me. And I've actually been doing really good. I think I've only returned maybe 2 things this year that I didn't read. Actually, it might have only been the Book of Strange New Things. That might be the only thing. So yeah, this month I don't have much checked out. I think I have technically 2 books checked out. One of them is from Overdrive, one of them is from the library, and the rest is just like pick whatever you want. My goal is to read a couple things off of my physical TBR, and B, read a couple of things off of my digital TBR. So books that I already own. The first thing, and one of the things I have checked out from the library that I want to read, is In the Night Garden by Catherine M. Valente. So this is like one of Catherine M. Valente's first big novels, and I always check the Valente section of my library just to see what they have in, because I'm slowly trying to read everything she's written so that I can do an author spotlight, hopefully by the end of the year. And I saw that they had this, and they had this beautiful, perfect, unread, brand new edition of this book. And it's from 2006, so it's not like a new book, but it's a new copy, and I was just like, oh, I have to have it. And yeah, this is going to be like my big read that I'm going to kind of try to read over the course of the entire month, because it's like just shy of 500 pages, and it's a bunch of little tales interwoven together, so I think it'll work well to read this in pieces. So I'm kind of gonna treat it like a short story collection, even though it's not technically a short story collection, but it kind of is. So yeah, I'm excited. I hope I like this better than Palimpsest, which I didn't really like, which is another one of her older novels. This is actually pre-Palimpsest, and so I'm hoping I like it more. We'll see. The other thing I'm reading that I've checked out of the library is an Overdrive book, and it is Adrift by Isabel Adler. This is published by 9 Star Press. It features an MM relationship, and it's a sci-fi story about kind of a Serenity-esque captain who's hired to do a job, basically to act as transport for this operative of his employer, let him fly his ship to an archaeological site, retrieve artifacts, and transport them back. And of course, you know, stuff happens. I'm about halfway through this, and yeah, I'm not going to talk about it until I finish reading it, because I want to see how it ends before I really make an opinion of it. But I will say, cover's beautiful. And then the next 3 things on my TBR are actually from last month. I didn't get to them, and that is the first 3 Rogue Squadron books. So there's a reason I didn't get to these, and that is because I went to the library, found all 3 of the Grisha trilogy books last month, and I was like, had to check them out, had to read them. So basically those got swapped into last month's reading instead of this. I don't think I have any other like huge trilogy that I've been really wanting to read, so I'm definitely gonna get to these. And then to break up the science fiction a little bit, I watched a video yesterday or the day before by Kath, and I'll leave a link to it down below, where she was giving suggestions for summer thrillers, which I thought was really cool, because I've seen a lot of people talking about, you know, summer reads, and it's all like summer contemporaries, and I don't like reading just straight up contemporary books. I just have no interest in them. It's kind of like family saga, literary fiction, just have 0 interest in it. But I do like mysteries, and I kind of like thrillers, and it's been freaking ages since I read a mystery, let alone a thriller. It's been even longer since I read a thriller. But her video is really inspiring to me to kind of maybe branch out of this whole fantasy thing. I've been reading a lot of fantasy, and I really like it, but I'm kind of like, I don't know what fantasy to read next necessarily, so I'm going to put this on my TBR again, and that is The Girl Who Played with Fire. This has been on a couple of TBRs this year. I still haven't finished it, but I really want to read this year. I love The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is obviously like a very wintry book. It's very cold, and I love it. for that. Like, oh, it's so atmospheric and I love it. This one, I know at least the beginning she is on a tropical island in the very beginning of this book. So I feel like, and there's like a hurricane. Because I actually read close to 200 pages of this. But that was many, many years ago, and so I've taken my bookmark out. So I think this might work to be like a summary-ish thriller read, mystery. Yeah, I really want to get this read, and I think maybe this month is the month to do that in. And then the last couple of things on my TBR are stuff that I've pulled off of my shelf or off my list of e-books that I own. The first one is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I picked this up, obviously, at Half Price Books for like $3. It's a hardcover, which I'm not a fan of hardcovers, but this looks unread, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty sure the very minor wear along the top is like for me transporting it home. So, I couldn't pass it up. And I've seen a lot of people talk about this. Mixed opinions on this. I've seen quite a few people recently talk about how they didn't like it, but I remember, I want to say it was Peruse Project, read this, and the way she described it, it sounded really interesting. Like, it sounded like there's this whole, like, invented dialect in here, and that sounds cool to me, like, interesting world building, plus it's supposed to be, like, dreams and angels. I don't really know what it's about, but it's, like, future fantasy, sci-fi-ish dystopian, I think. So, and it's YA. I wanted a YA book on this list this month, just to be like something like quick to read in between a couple of those heavier things. I'll see if I get to this. Plus, like, I purchased this. I broke my book buying ban to buy this, so I'm trying to read those books that I've bought. Another thing I may pick up, just as like light filler, is Burned by Magic by Jasmine Walt. This is self-published paranormal, I assume paranormal with romantic elements book. And I started reading this like months and months ago. It was like one of the books I had on my phone that, like, if I was stuck somewhere, I would just like read a page. And I think she's like a shapeshifter with magic, living in a shapeshifter community. And like a friend of hers gets killed, something like that. I think that's what happens. That's all like as far as I got. But this was selling really well. I know Jasmine Walt has like done amazingly well self-publishing, and so partially I wanted to read this kind of like as research, partially just to like see what her writing style is like, what I thought of it. So yeah, this is kind of like, fillery if I need something light and not too demanding. I'll pick this up. Another thing I have is a book called Wes and Kit by Hollis Shiloh. This is an MM romance. I don't know if this is steampunk. I think it's like Wild West steampunk. That's what it looks like on the cover. I have no idea what it's about. I picked it up on like a 99-cent or free deal. Again, self-published. Haven't read any of the books and seems kind of a shame. I might get to that. The last thing, I just kind of threw this on here because I've been thinking about Sabriel a lot and kind of wishing that I had another book like Sabriel to read. I don't necessarily want to continue in that series just because it's like about different characters. So I have the first book in the Aster Wood series by J.B. Cantwell, and I believe it is self-published as well because I picked it up as like a free first in series, and I think it's like a middle grade book about a boy who gets sucked into a fantasy land, like Portal Fantasy type thing. And so that just kind of, that plus the fact that it's I'm almost positive it's middle grade, just was really appealing as kind of something different. I don't really know anything about it, but it's also been on my Kindle for quite a long time. We'll see if I get to it. That is my very loose TBR. A lot of these things, because they're from my personal collection, I feel like I can interchange them with anything else from my personal collection. But when I was just like looking at everything, these were some that kind of jumped out as both things that have been on my TBR for a really long time that I need to read, or that kind of fit into some sort of category that I've been kind of craving to read. We'll see how it goes. Let me know if you've read any of these books or what you're planning on picking up in July that you're really excited to read, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.